Hey everybody, it's Adam again and welcome back to my garage. Well, today we're going to get to work again on project E46 XTI, except we're going to be spending most of our attention on the E46 parts car. We're going to go ahead and get the motor out from underneath the hood and probably keep the front subframe still on there so we can keep on wheeling it around, but eventually we'll get that subframe pulled out too. If you want to know more about the history of the project and what we're really planning to do here, take a look down below in the comments and I'll leave a link on the introductory video. And there's a whole bunch of other videos doing the planning and so forth on this. But today it is time to get to taking the motor out of that E46. On a side note, I could have done this during the summertime when it was a lot warmer, but I decided to wait until the first snow of the season, and it's only about 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now, so I'm warmed up. Got the warm duds on here today instead of the old IndyCar track shirt, but we're gonna get this taken care of. Come along for the ride. All right, so here's what we have to contend with underneath the hood of this E46. So I bought it last year from a guy off of Facebook Marketplace down in Ohio, and he had already pulled out the 5-speed transmission. It's originally a 325 XI. He stripped out the interior as well, so there's not much in here other than a couple of trim items and spare tire and so forth. I'll put a link down below as well to the video where we first rolled this off the trailer. But basically it's got all the front drivetrain in it still. The engine is for the most part complete aside from the ignition coils and the air box over here, but we're gonna be doing a turbo setup on this anyways, so I'm gonna end up doing some smart coils on there and have a custom intake. But basically what we're gonna do is go ahead and remove the whole front fascia of the car, get that front core support off of there, and then effectively disconnect the front drivetrain. So we'll get the CV axles disconnected from the corners up front, and should be pretty darn close to yank the engine right out of there. Hopefully we'll get that done here today, and if not, we'll turn it into a nice 10-year long series of videos figuring out how to get all the bolts unstuck and all that good stuff. So for the headlamp housings, we've got a 8mm on top of here. 1, 2, and we'll take a look around here. Oh boy, that's that weather stripping is pretty much garbage on there. I get this little plastic trim piece off the bottom here, and that actually has our little washer system for the headlamps there as well. You don't want to break that off. Oh, well, we broke that off. Yeah, let's see what else we got underneath here. Okay, there's another screw on the back side of the headlight here. Well, and that won't be the last one that we break off as we're taking this thing apart. Yeah, I think we broke that one too. Yep. There we go. Get this little guy disconnected here. Oh, that cracked off as well. Wow, this plastic is really dry on this thing. But there we go. Actually, this headlight looks like it's in pretty good shape. That might actually fetch me a good $8 on Facebook Marketplace. Same procedure on this side. Same broken screw on this side. Oh, looks like the screw is already removed on our behalf on this one. Oh, we got a nice bee's nest down in here too. Jeez, oh Pete's, we're finding all sorts of good stuff on this car. Little bee's nest down in here, hopefully. Oh! All right, let's get back to looking underneath the bumper over here. So this was our E12 external Torx, and this one is, man, she's gonna take a little bit of force to get this guy out of here, but it seems like it's moving. I just hope how difficult some of these screws are getting out of here isn't a foreshadowing for what other else we're gonna find underneath this thing as we take it apart. Oh, well, I I did something to that. It seems really odd that, well, okay, all right, well, I get, you know, we're getting somewhere. I don't know if we're getting where we want to go, but it's somewhere else. It's not here. What in the hang? Well, it just sounds really crunchy. Crunchy up inside there. Holy. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like. Because that thing felt like it had dang near red Loctite just gripping it right down into the whole front bumper of this thing. Holy goodness. Well, that's that side at least. Hopefully this side cooperates a little better for us. Marginally better. Yeah. Just as easy as the other side. Now we're getting somewhere. There's basically a couple of fasteners up underneath here. They haven't broken off. That we're gonna want to get loosened up. See over there on the right and the left-hand side. Feels like there's something up in here, so we'll have to get those pulled off of there, and then hopefully she'll just slide forward. Actually, it looks like we got a little bit of a skid plate there too. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Oh, here we go. Look at that. I guess I just had to keep beating the out of it. Oh, well, that got that side at least. Now we gotta convince this side to do the same thing here. Oh yeah. All right, let's see. Yep, well, she's gonna give her all she got, I think. Yeah, it is that screw on the back of there, of course. All right, let's see here. No, there we go. All right. Couple of connectors here in the back of the horn, and voila, it's free. Now we're cooking, boys. We are gonna get this cracked plastic thing off of here. Basically looks like an air duct. You got the old kidney grill style there, directing air towards our radiator. Some plastic screws that feel like they could break at any second. I don't know about this. Jeez. Oh, well, I didn't want to do that. Somebody was already messing with the skid plate down here. Somebody was definitely messing with it. We got a flathead screw where the other ones were Phillips. And I'm excited to see what else we're gonna find when we tear into this thing here. That must mean we've got lots of other surprises under the hood and under the car. I can't wait. It is amazing to me how much of this plastic is just brittle as might as well be made out of glass. We're gonna go ahead and drain the coolant if there is any out of it, and I'm gonna go ahead and drain the power steering fluid there as well. We'll get that out of the way, and then we're gonna take a look at how we can get this radiator core support out of here, which basically looks like we got the fender connected up at the top. We got these 6 total nuts around here. Oh, well, oh, yeah, well, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. You know what, I'm gonna get those AC lines out of the way. There's literally no pressure when I turn this thing. So this thing has got to be empty on there. We're just gonna disconnect those lines and get those out of the way. All right, we'll get a little bit of penetrating oil on there. I'll let that sit while we turn our attention to the rest of this front core support here. Next thing we're going to do is remove these bolts up on top of here that hold it to the fender, and then we're going to get down to these three up on the front of here. So we got a 13 millimeter down here. Those came off a lot easier than I was expecting. All right, let's see what we've got next. Okay. We got, looks like some rubber pieces that are held on by two plastic bolts up on top of here. Those go into the radiator, it feels like. But once I get those, oh, okay. I guess we just pull them right out of there, kind of like that. And you'll just get that. And a couple of wires hanging us up here. Let's see. Hopefully there's something in here for me to decouple this guy with. There we go. Take this little guy. It just could be a lot easier than this if it just came out of there. It's almost like it's crimped or something. Oh, there we go. Yep, okay. There we go. All right. Another part is free. I really think this radiator and condenser should just pop out of here. Yep, just like that. So we got to get the lower hose and this upper hose off of the AC taken off here still. And also down here, we've got these power steering cooling lines, it looks like. So this radiator and all these hoses connected here, I'm going to want to make sure that I've got all of this still together, because I may end up still using this when I put everything into the E46. We'll see, so I'm trying to be extra careful not to break anything like I did on top of this. Yeah, this is coming off. Oh, well, looks like I'll be getting some new power steering cooling hoses here. That thing was pretty well toast as it was. Jeez. You know, whatever happened to just regular old C-clips and things like that? This is not nice. All right. The left side is free. The power steering cooling lines plus this heater core line are what are holding us up over here on the driver's side. There we go. Oh boy, that's nasty. That is also does not look like ATF. And in fact, it smells like power steering fluid. Naturally, coming out of the power steering reservoir, you would expect that it's power steering fluid, but the cap says ATF only, which on these later BMWs and also on my Subaru, oddly enough, it's all ATF. Now there's probably a special tool for removing this thing, but I don't have time to wait for special tools. Well, this hose is hosed anyways, so we're just going to resort to cutting it apart. All right, that should be it. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, that's not it. Got the bottom heater hose still on here. Come on there, Carl. There we go. Yeah. All right. And she's free. Whoop. All right, let's take a closer look at what we have to do next. Obviously, we've got the motor mounts down there, and there's a big old grounding wire too. We got to disconnect that. And then come over on this side. I think it's pretty much the power steering pressure line down there to the power steering pump and the actual power rack. And then I think we've got one other heater core line. Actually, that's going down there, so I think we're good on the heater core side. And then, of course, we got the wiring harness. We got to disconnect that. And then we've got to disconnect the half shafts and the front differential underneath there. All right, I think it's just about time to get down underneath the car. So I'll give you a little synopsis of what we did up top here. Basically got the AC compressor completely disconnected, disconnected the B+ line over here, got the power steering line disconnected down there. I disconnected it from the steering rack and I couldn't get it out of the pump. Rather than rounding it off, I just disconnected this crossover here from the subframe. And then over on this side, you've got a couple of different connectors coming off for the ECU. It's a little different than what I'm used to on the E46, just because typically it's just one big connector. But basically we got the MS43 ECU sitting down there and a handful of other connectors that the engine ends up interfacing with coming back over here to the fuse box and this relay box over here. Looks like I've got another one I got to disconnect. And I've got another ground wire I've got to disconnect there. But other than that, I think we are pretty well cleaned up underneath here. Also the fuel line is down underneath there. Similar kind of high pressure connection. Didn't break the plastic on this one like I did to the power steering lines earlier. But basically that pretty much is it for everything up underneath the hood. And I'm gonna pull the front tires off of it, take a look at how those half shafts are connected up to the front differential. Hopefully we're able to get off those half shafts without having to remove the whole front steering knuckle here. And if we can do that, I am thinking we could just leave the front differential attached down there to the oil pan, and we might be able to lift it right out with that front diff on there. If not, we're just gonna have to basically take that front diff off underneath and then move the engine up and out of the way. I tell you what, removing the front end on this thing makes it a heck of a lot easier to get down in there at all the other connections that are going on here, because you know, there's a lot of stuff that's up front here. And if you're even pulling your engine on your E46 and replacing it, doing whatever, and plan to put it right back in the same car, this is a parts car, I'm not going to be putting this engine back in here, I would still recommend taking that front end off of there. In fact, I'm going to do that for sure when I go through and work on the E36 and put that front subframe up in there. I'm basically going to disassemble that whole front end as well. Well, boys, we've hit a bit of a roadblock here. All 5 of those lug bolts are seized up on there. I don't want to break them off inside of the hub there because I'm planning to reuse all the running gear up front. So I went ahead and I soaked it with some PB Blaster. So we're about 29 days later and about 29 degrees colder than it was when I started working on this. Soaked it in PB Blaster. I brought along a little extra help over here today too, get the extra muscle out here to help get these lug bolts untorqued off of this thing. And let's get that motor yanked out of here. Let's go. Yep, pull down on it. Let's see if you get it. Pull down hard.
I can probably do it. A little bit.
Is it going? Okay, let's see.
You're pulling the car.
You're pulling the car. Jeez. Watch out, watch out. Here we go, try it again.
And then twist it.
Yeah. Oh, that tire's moving. Oh! I didn't break it. Push it, Quince. Push it down. Wait a second. See that block right there? There you go. Stop right there. Just enough to get the weight off of it. And that way, when the tire comes off, the car doesn't fall down. You got it? Okay, Quincy, you go give it a shot. Yep. Yep. Oh, careful for the paint there. Not that we're going to save that, I guess. But pull on it hard, Quince. Pull on it hard. Oh, come on, buddy. It's hard. You and Abe both try? Okay, be careful, though. Be careful. Try not to Just be very careful, guys. Push it down. Oh, you guys got it. Look at that.
I told you.
Oh, give me 5. All right. Hey, buddy. It didn't break. Oh, no. All right, Abraham, let's see you try to take this off of here now with this. Go ahead and, yep, put it on there. Here you go. Now pull the trigger. There you go.
The last one.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Try to take that tire off of there now. Oh, no. Is that tired? The tire's jammed on there?
Yeah.
Watch this. Back up. Back up. Oh, man, those feel like new rotors on there. It feels pretty... There's like no ridges in this thing. I tell you what though, guys, I know I got a problem here. This is a socket down there that I don't have. I may have to go on the internet and get a socket for this. I was not expecting it. I thought that was a hex head on there, but it's multi-star there. So the next thing we're gonna do is remove the brake caliper off here. Keep going. Here, buddy, keep going with her. There you go. Oh, you guys have to stay in there now. Go ahead and get out. All right, next up, we're gonna remove these brake calipers off of here. And then we're gonna try to get at the brake rotor itself. The ever elusive 16 millimeter socket. Oh, Quincy. Oh, these are gonna be locked up on me too. Okay, there's the first one. We're gonna remove this brake line off of here to get that out of the way of the caliper bolt. So since I'm not using these brake lines again, I'm just winding them right up. The proper thing to do probably would have been just to cut the whole front end of the car off and just scrap this whole freaking thing. Wow. Whatever happened to banjo bolts and things you could actually get at the brake caliper with. Hallelujah. That was cracked anyways, so that's good that we're rectifying the situation here. There we go. I'm not a betting man, but I would venture to say that the amount of play in this thing, you can hear it clunking there. It says that we got a bad wheel bearing up here, so that'll be something else that we work on once we get this front corner off of here. All right, so rather than waiting around for a week for something to show up on the MySpace marketplace, ran down to the local hardware store and found a 36 millimeter 12-point socket. Not an impact socket, but we're gonna use it on the impact wrench anyways. And let's see how she fits. Oh yeah, so that'll be perfect. Now the big question will be whether or not I'm gonna be able to get this off of here without putting the rotor or putting a wheel back on there to keep this hub locked up as we're cranking on it. So I'm hoping the impact wrench will be enough to break it loose, and then we'll get it off of there. It's something I just noticed, and maybe that's why this thing is loose, but these little keyways here, this little flange on the outside of the nut is actually supposed to be knocked in to those little keyways to keep this from backing out on you. So it looks like, I'm wondering if this nut was replaced on here before, or they had done some maintenance on the outside of this and didn't bother to knock this in here. So that could be why this thing is loose. Probably got to replace the bearing in there anyways. No telling how long somebody's running around like that, but let's go ahead and get this impact on here and see if we can get this off. Otherwise, we'd have to knock these two little, basically this ring out of here in order to undo the locking mechanism. Oh yeah, there we go, baby. Well, clearly it wasn't locked on there. Lucky for us, but unlucky for the previous owner, because they've been riding around with a wobbly bearing on this thing for God knows how long. Oh, there we go. She's going right in. Look at that. You know what? I think what I got to do actually is I'm going to have to disconnect the old ball joint on the bottom down there, break that apart, and then basically pull the A-arm out of the way and then pull this guy out. That is my guess. So hopefully we'll get this guy off without a hitch here, and then we'll be able to get at that. Okay, we're going to try to come at this from the front here. I got a tire iron with a pry wedge. What's happening?
You weren't kidding. We have so much stuff to do. It's Christmas Eve. Get inside.
From the top here, and I got a pry bar, and right between the housing and the shaft right there, we're gonna just jam this pry bar in there and turn, and hopefully we can pull her out just with a little bit of leverage there. Working on this, sweetie. There we go. So there's a little snap ring. I'll show you here in a second. It's like a snap ring groove, and I'm probably gonna let out a bunch of oil when this comes out of here. Oh boy. Oh. But there's a snap ring on the end of there. If you wedge your punch, chisel, I use a chisel, just enough in there, and just knock it out a little bit. It's enough to break that snap ring loose up inside of the diff, and then you can use your tire iron or whatever else to help wedge it out a little bit more. Looking at this, you know, the boots look to be in pretty good shape on this. Maybe not. Got a little bit of a crack down here. I mean, it's not cracked open. Well, we might need to do a boot repair on this guy or just get a whole new half shaft. We'll see. But hey, we got the passenger side done. Let's go over to the driver's side. Whoa! Yeah, she was stuck in there good, but she's free now, I think. Kind of. There we go. Let's take a look at this real quick. So there's our snap ring up at the top again. That's what we had to unsnap. Looks like I beat this guy a little too much here. We'll bend that out before we put it back on. As for the boots on this one, yeah, it looks pretty good. I think this one will be good to go back on there, and she'll be ready for duty. All right, I think we're getting close to yanking the motor here finally. So we got a couple of nuts and bolts we got to get loose down underneath. On the passenger side here, we've got the nut that's down on the motor mount there. And then we're also going to remove this grounding strap that comes back to the frame over on this side. And then on the driver's side, same thing. We've got that steering shaft in the way here. We'll have to figure out how we can get at that nut down there. And I don't see really anything else down below here. There are a couple of things up top here though that we have to address. We've got the harness kind of coming underneath the heater hoses here, back up over to the ECU mounting box over on the right here. And there's another grounding strap up here that goes to the motor harness. And I believe that is it. We'll hook up the old engine hoist here and give you a yank and see what happens. Also, you may remember transmission. This car does not have a transmission on it. It was removed by the previous owner, the guy that was pulling off some parts before I did. And lucky for us, it looks like everything's disconnected back there because I don't see a transmission, which means we don't have to roll around underneath there to get this thing yanked out. So let's see what happens. All right, let's get this first motor mount bolt taken off over here on the left. That is a 16 millimeter, just enough knot of an extension to be useful. Well, this is interesting. I was expecting to see a nut on there, and it actually looks like it is a nut, but basically there's actually a stud that comes off of there, and this nut goes up on top. So when we put this back together, we're gonna have to figure out how to get that nut off of there to help us guide it down into the E46. Okay, let's go over to the driver's side. A couple of connectors underneath our box over here. And we're actually gonna have to route our harness around the heater hoses here too. So get these connectors off over here. There's our harness. Let's get this heater valve out of the way here. We want this guy to come around here. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. We got this mess of hoses, basically from the heater, a little electronic valve down here, and our harness in between all these hoses. Holy nights, guys. Let's just take this thing apart here, get that harness out of the way. Just like peeling back the layers of an onion. All right, let's get down over at the driver's side motor mount over here. Hopefully we can get away with it without needing to pull this motor shaft or this steering shaft off of here. Oh, don't make me get out the breaker bar. Oh boy. That one came off the top nice. So we got the two mounting points lined up here. I am going to go ahead and get this nice leveled. Pick this up over at Harbor Space Goods. Well, I guess it's helpful. This side isn't even on there tight. So I guess we'll just remove this and put it over here somewhere so we don't completely kill ourselves here somewhere, you know. But the car is balancing on 3 points right now. Okay, that's fine. Let's get her into place here. I'll show you in a second where I mounted up the engine hoist, because it was a little tough to get at the rear spot there, and we had to deal with a little bit of a length issue. But we're going to go ahead and tighten her up here, make sure she's kind of leveled out there in terms of how this is getting pulled. We're just going to try to distribute that weight a little bit better over to the intake manifold here. I guess I'd rather break that intake manifold, since I have a M50 manifold waiting for me up front, than destroy the fuel rail there. So let's give her another shot. Front end is coming up a little bit sooner than the back because we're stuck underneath there. There we go. All right. Well, she seems to be coming up right now, so that's a good sign. Not coming forward though. The motor is actually looks like the front diff is hitting on our steering rack up there. I think we're just going to keep on yanking her straight up and see what happens. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's get her up. I think she's loose there. That's good. Got her clear down there. Let's pull her straight back and see what we get. Come on there, girl. Let's see. Oh, geez. No, okay. Close call here. Get that out of the way. Get that power steering line around here or something. I don't even. Make sure she's clear. All the different things that can hook her up as we're coming through, like this AC compressor, she doesn't want to let go. Feel like we got oil coming all, oh goodness. I wonder where that oil's coming from. Hopefully it's the rear main seal. Actually, it looks like it's coming out of the crank. Well, that'll be interesting. We'll get to inspect that in a second. Here we go, Abemus M54 B25 out of the E46. All right. Boys, we just hit warp speed here. We've opened Pandora's box. now that the engine is pulled out of this thing, the sky is the limit from here on out. So I think we're gonna call that a wrap on this video. Success, it's out. Next up, we're gonna remove this front diff here. We're gonna take off the intake manifold and everything else there, clean up this engine, take a look around on it in a future episode. The M54 is officially out of the E46 parts car. And next up, we're gonna be going to town on the E36, basically doing the same thing to the front end of that to get the motor out of there, get it down to the subframe as well. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying Project E36 all-wheel drive XTI, and stay tuned for a lot more content. We got a lot of work to do, but we're making some good progress, and now we can really start going to town on some other things around both this engine and some of the other parts that we've accumulated over the last couple of months. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below if you want to see more all-wheel drive E36 content, in addition to some of the other projects we've got going on in the garage: BMW E21, 2004 Subaru STI, LS6 powered Sonoma, and more. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.